He is one of the greatest men I've ever met. He is gentle, he's humble, he's understated. You don't know how big the real Jim Cundall is because he would never talk about himself. Jim is kind of who I would refer to as the consummate volunteer because in his life, I think he's retirement. You know, he volunteers for everything, but we can't forget that Jim volunteered to go to Vietnam. He was not drafted. Jim volunteered to serve in the first Gulf War. So volunteer is just in his DNA, and he's done it all of his life.
Honor Air is a nonprofit organization dedicated to taking World War II, Korea, and Vietnam vets to Washington to see the memorials that were built in their honor.
It's a one-day, all-expense-paid trip to our nation's capital, to Washington, D.C. And we spend the day with these veterans, touring them around and letting them kind of live experiences at the memorials. Jim will go wherever he needs to go to tell the story about Honor Air. He will go wherever he needs to go to sit down and talk to a veteran and tell them what they can experience or what they will experience to kind of relieve any fears they may have. So the story about Jim is he is a whatever it takes kind of person.
I think part of it is I will talk to some of the guys, and when they start telling their stories, I've been there. And if this will make them get over the hump, I want to get them over the hump. You can open up, because if I say a joke about the military, you understand if you're a veteran. You can't come home and tell people stories that happened in the military unless you're there. People hear you, they don't feel it. But when you talk to a veteran, you feel what he's telling you, and he feels what you're telling him. So it's that feeling.
Volunteers are really what make the community, in my opinion. Lots of organizations that do lots of things in our community would not be able to do them without the volunteer base that we have. And this community is so blessed to have so many volunteers. And it just makes our resources go further.
With volunteers, if we didn't have volunteers, there are a lot of things that would go undone. That would never happen. And we need to volunteer. We don't need to get paid for everything we do.
Jim, I've said it many, many times to you and to others, and I could never say it enough. This program, Honor Air, would not be what it is today without your involvement, without your dedication, without your passion. And I will never be able to thank you enough. This community will never be able to thank you enough. And the veterans that we have served will never be able to thank you enough for what you do for this program. I am eternally grateful to you, and you deserve this award. You deserve this recognition. And I just wish you the best. And we will keep doing this as long as you will keep joining us.